Today we are going to continue with our syllabus. Today what we do is now we are going to discuss in detail about the characteristics. In the very beginning class I have discussed about the basics of the antennas and wave propagations, where we discussed about the characteristics. In that, one of the characteristic is going to be the radiation pattern. Now in today's class we try to discuss about the radiation pattern in detail. Right? In the very beginning class I just touched the various characteristics. I just explained what is the need of this particular characteristic, what the characteristic is all about. Now we normally go with the characteristics in detail. So first of all, the first and foremost important characteristic of an antenna is going to be the radiation pattern. Now what is radiation pattern? Radiation pattern is defined as a graphical, it is defined as a graphical representation, is defined as a graphical representation of a electromagnetic wave propagating in the free space, which depends on the spatial coordinates. So a graphical representation of EM wave, graphical representation of an EM wave with respect to the spatial coordinates, with respect to the spatial coordinates, with respect to the spatial coordinates is basically known as a radiation pattern. So that means graphically you can observe here radiation pattern, and graphically you can just observe the spatial coordinate system. Now here I am using a spherical coordinate system in this particular example. Now all the antennas are treated to radiate an EM wave by considering the spherical coordinate system. Why? Because the antenna is going to radiate signal in various directions. So whenever antenna is going to radiate in various directions, we have to represent that in terms of the spherical coordinate system. Therefore we are considering a spherical coordinate system. Now here on a two-dimensional plane we are drawing a three-dimensional spherical coordinate system. That is why it is looking like this. Actually in reality this particular lines, whatever that I have drawn here, see these exterior lines that I have drawn, these lines that I have drawn are spherical in nature. They are not something like what I have shown it here, but on a piece of paper of two-dimensional paper we are drawing a three-dimensional diagram or a figure. So because since we are showing a three-dimensional or two-dimensional paper, we normally going to draw it like this. Okay. So but it is considered to be like a sphere. This entire thing, this outer periphery is considered to be like a sphere for us. Okay. Now here what is the point in a spherical coordinate system? A point P. Say for example this is nothing but my point P. So this point P is represented by R, which is called radial distance. That means from center of the origin of the coordinate system, a radial distance where you are considering on the sphere. Now here whatever the infinitesimal surface area you are going to consider, that should be on the surface of the coordinate system that you are considering. Okay. So here we are considering a spherical coordinate system. So whenever you think about a spherical coordinate system, please think about a ball kind of a structure, so which is nothing but a sphere. So the surface of the sphere has to be considered whenever we are normally going to consider the radiation pattern. So therefore let us suppose if we consider the surface of this, and the surface happens to be at some point P. Now this point P I can write as R theta and R phi and theta. R phi and theta. So these are the various points on the spherical coordinate system. And if you find out the differential area, on the spherical coordinate system, what is that you are going to find out? R square sin theta d phi. That means by keeping R as constant, other two are normally going to be variable, we find out the differential area of this particular region. Say for example if this is the differential area, say dA, the dA I can write as R square sin theta d theta and d phi. Now we are going to assume that our antenna may be a dipole antenna or some other antenna is placed at the center of the coordinate system, that is origin of the coordinate system. From this origin, the antenna is normally going to radiate the electromagnetic wave, right? Now I have just considered this as 3-dimensional figure. This is x-axis, say y-axis is on the horizontal line, x-axis is here which is perpendicular to y, and z-axis here. Now we are assuming that the wave is propagating along the z direction. Now it is something like we are representing spherical coordinate system on the rectangular coordinate system, right? So we are always going to represent cylindrical or spherical with respect to the rectangular coordinate system only. So therefore, first of all we draw the rectangular coordinate system, then we construct a sphere in this, and after we construct a sphere, then we start thinking about a spherical coordinate system. Now imagine that this particular antenna is going to radiate energy in this particular radiation pattern. Now this pattern is similar to something like a balloon. That means once you pour some air in the balloon, now how the balloon is normally going to come up, what is the shape of the balloon which will be coming out while you are going to pump the air into the balloon? The balloon is going to enlarge its size like this. So that means the signal is going to travel like how a balloon is going to get expanded when you fill air into the balloon. Exactly similar to that, the wave is normally going to get propagated in the similar fashion. So that is why we are normally going to show this particular lobe. Now this is known as lobes. What is a lobe? Lobe is known as a type of a radiation pattern or something like a radiation patterns. It's going to speak about the various radiation patterns. So based on the intensity, based on the intensity or strength of the radiation pattern, we call them as major lobes, minor lobes or back lobes. So what do you mean by major lobes? Whichever radiation is going to be more, intensity is going to be more, that particular radiated signal is simply called as a major lobe for us. Therefore, this blue balloon that I have drawn it here is called as a major lobe, right? Then all the small things here, whatever that I have drawn here, they are going to be called as a minor lobes. Some people call them as a side lobes, some people call them as a minor lobes. So I call them as minor lobes. Then the lobe which is exactly opposite to the major lobe is known as the back lobe, Now these are the various radiations that are simply radiated by a antenna, transmitting antenna. If the antenna is going to be a directional antenna, that means what are the various types of patterns we normally going to encounter? So many types based on the radiation, that how it normally takes place by a transmitting antenna. Now here the antenna pattern is dependent on what now? It is a function of spatial coordinates. What are the spatial coordinates that we have? R, phi and theta. So with respect to this r, phi and theta, we normally going to get a antenna radiation pattern. So that means antenna radiation pattern is basically a graphical representation of a EM wave propagating in the free space, which depends on the spatial coordinates. Spatial means x, y, z, r, theta, phi, all these are the spatial domain constants. That means when a wave is propagating, let us suppose, imagine that this chalk piece is there, this chalk piece is traveling without help of my hand. Now you can assume that this chalk piece is in the free space. Now how can I find out the position of this particular chalk, or how can I find out the movement of this particular chalk if I consider some coordinate system in a free space? I can able to figure out, right, the direction of this particular chalk and the rotation of this particular chalk, how it is moving, everything I can able to find out if I really go with the coordinate system, right? So here in the case of antennas, all antennas are going to consider a spherical coordinate system at the time of radiating as well as at the time of receiving the signals. So therefore we are always going to consider the spherical coordinate system in the antennas and wave propagation for an antenna to radiate an EM signal or EM wave. Now here, yes, now this radiation pattern is dependent on all these factors. Now what is nothing but radiation pattern? It is simply a graphical representation of the EM wave with respect to the spatial coordinates, is simply known as a radiation pattern. Okay. Now based on the strength or based on the intensity of the radiation, right, we normally going to have three types of radiation patterns. What are all they? This also we have touched in the previous class: isotropic radiation pattern, omnidirectional radiation pattern, and next one is going to be a directional radiation pattern. So when you talk about isotropic radiation pattern, isotropic radiation pattern. Now how it is going to radiate? Imagine that there is a sphere like this. Now I am not drawing a three-dimensional view of a sphere, I am drawing only a two-dimensional view of a sphere. So I can just draw it like a circle, but you imagine that it is a three-dimensional, something like a ball. Now at the center of the ball you normally going to have an antenna, transmitting antenna. Now this antenna is going to radiate in all the directions. Now I am drawing by vector notations. These are all the vector representations, right? Antenna, now if an antenna is radiating in all the directions equally, that means the strength of the signal at all these points, if you find out the strength, say for example this is A, B, C, D, E, so on and so forth. Now you find out the strength of the signal at various points like A, B, C, D on this circle, you will find the same amount of the amplitude or same strength you are normally going to experience at every point on this particular circle. Which means what? This antenna, whatever you are going to put, here you are going to have an antenna, here you are going to have an antenna. Now this antenna is going to radiate the energy in all the directions equally. So isotropic antenna radiation pattern is a radiation pattern which is normally going to radiate in all the directions equally, is known as any antenna which radiates the energy or EM energy in all the directions is simply known as a isotropic antenna. But practically, can we have an isotropic antenna? No, the answer is that we really cannot construct an isotropic antenna practically, because it is basically known as a theoretical type of the antenna, where whenever you design or whenever we design any antenna, we try to find out the parameters of the practical antenna with respect to the isotropic antenna. Therefore, this isotropic antenna can also be called as ideal isotropic radiation, can also be called as an ideal radiation pattern, ideal radiation pattern, ideal radiation pattern. What is the meaning of ideal? It is supposed to be 100% perfect, it is called ideal radiation pattern, but practically isotropic antenna cannot exist practically, we cannot manufacture, right, isotropic antennas practically. So since we cannot manufacture isotropic antennas practically, we cannot radiate signal in all the directions with equal strength. Therefore, it is normally used for analysis of practical antennas. Always we compare the practical antenna with respect to the values of the isotropic antenna. That means something like whenever we go to a doctor, a diseased person goes to a doctor, what the doctor will do? Doctor is going to analyze the person who has got some illness with respect to a person which is perfectly alright, which is ideal. Now he is normally going to figure out how much is the deviation, how much is the problem. Accordingly, he is going to give a medicine to us. Similarly, here also, this is a ideal one, reference one. It's something like a reference pattern. So by using this reference pattern, we are normally going to figure out how efficient or how effective the practical antenna is with respect to the isotropic radiation antenna. So that is what normally going to be called as a isotropic antenna for us. Okay. Then next type of antenna is going to be omnidirectional antenna. What do you mean by omnidirectional? Omnidirectional antenna. This directional antenna is not going to be directed at a particular region, at a particular line. So this antenna, for example, if you have y quadrant here, x quadrant here, that means if you draw a line parallel to this draw a line parallel to this, we normally going to get a plane. Now this is a plane of x and y. Sorry, no? Not perfectly drawn. This is a plane for x and y. Now on this plane, the antenna is normally going to have a radiation. That means over the entire plane, if an antenna is going to have a radiation, it is normally going to be called as an omnidirectional antenna. That means this omnidirectional antenna is normally going to have a radiation pattern over the entire plane under consideration. That means it is non-directional in a particular region. It is going to exist over the entire plane, is known as basically omnidirectional antenna pattern. So we normally going to experience this kind of a pattern by a transmitting antenna. The next one is going to be a directional radiation pattern. Now what do you mean by this directional radiation pattern? Direction means what? Say for example, I have an antenna here like this, a small antenna that I am just drawing it here. This is a dipole antenna I am drawing, and this dipole antenna is now normally radiating like this. Alright, so it is going to have some lobes, side lobes like this, back lobe here, side lobes here like this. This is the main lobe that I am going to have. Now this antenna is radiating its maximum power only in this direction, not in any other direction. That means it is a directional antenna is normally going to be highly directive at a particular region, then only it is normally called as a directional type of the antenna. So that means by looking into the various patterns, we are normally going to come across about the directivities. Okay, that means by just looking into radiation pattern, what is that we normally going to figure out? We normally going to figure out the type of the radiations that we normally going to experience. So after type of the radiations, in what regions the antenna is going to radiate its electromagnetic signal. So in what regions antenna is going to radiate its energy in the electromagnetic spectrum, that is another point of discussion that we have to consider. Okay, what are the regions we can have now? Now what are the reasons now? What are the various reasons of operation, or what are the various reasons of radiation of a transmitting antenna? There are various reasons of radiations here, radiation patterns here. What are those reasons? There are going to be two, especially we are going to have two types of regions of propagation. One is going to be called as near field region of propagation. The next one is called as far field region of propagation. Now this near field is once again subdivided into two. One is going to be reactive near field region. Next one is going to be radiating near field region. So we have two types of near field regions, reactive near field region, next one is radiating near field region, and one more you are going to have called as a far field region. Now how can we normally say this as, or how can we normally represent them as? So for example, if you consider an antenna like this, say there is a small antenna that you are going to have, where the dimension of the antenna, say for example this is the diameter, say this is the diameter of the antenna, right? Based on this diameter at the center as the antenna, we normally going to draw a circle onto this, right? So we draw a circle here, and above this we normally going to represent another circle here. Now from this center of the antenna we cover some region called R1 region, we cover some other region, say imagine it is an R2 region, right? So this is the center called 0, origin of the antenna. So from here to here it is called R1 region, and at some other radius it is going to be R2 region of propagation. Now if you observe carefully, you are going to find out especially three regions: the region between 0 to R1, the region in between R1 R2, and the region above R2. So therefore the region above R2 is known as far field region. far field region. And the region in between R1 and R2 is simply known as, this region is known as a radiating near field. Radiating near field region. It is known as a radiating near field region. Then the region which is internal to this, okay, this region is known as a reactive near field region. It is known as reactive near field region. Reactive near field region. Okay. Now, based on the dimension, that means it is purely going to be based on the dimension of the antenna. So, if the dimension of the antenna is going to be very less in comparison with the wavelength of the wave that we are transmitting, then such an antenna is not normally going to radiate to the longer distances. That is an important point for us. So, this R1 ranges. What is the range of R1 that we normally going to transmit signals? Range of R1 is going to be 0.62 under root d cube by lambda. So, this lambda is nothing but wavelength, where d is known as the dimension of the antenna, which is in terms of the total diameter of the antenna. Okay. So, d cube by lambda under root into 0.62 is the radial distance which can be covered by the antenna, and this region is simply known as a reactive near field region. So, if the antenna, it is based on the antenna size, we normally going to have a radiation in this region. The next region we normally going to have called as R2. That means if you have the dimensional parameters which are proportional to 2 lambda square by lambda, 2d square by lambda, sorry. So, 2d square by lambda. So, if R2 is equal to 2d square by lambda, then this region is simply going to be called as a radiating near field region. So, this is for R1, which is a reactive near field region, R2 which is nothing but in between these two. That means in between these two values, that means between R1 and R2, between R1 and R2, we normally going to have what? Radiating near field region. Radiating near field regions. Radiating near field regions. And above R2 means what? What is the meaning of greater than R2? Above R2, all that region is known as a far field region, right? So, in the far field region, what are the various, in the far field region, what are the various values of dimensions now? Say R3 is going to be 4 d square by lambda. R4 is going to be 6 say d square by lambda, and so on. Like this, as you normally going to take the various values of this, when you take the multiples of 2, even multiples of 2, we normally going to get various distances travelled for the wave from the transmitting antenna. So, like this we will be getting various regions of operation. Now, what is important is, now the wave which is going to be there in the far field region, which is going to be considerably at a distance of R2 from the antenna. So, after this, all the waves are going to be like uniform waves, they look to be same. That means all the waves are going to be transverse in nature. Since all the waves are transverse in nature, the observer is going to observe like a uniform plane wave. That means after far field region, this wave is considered as a uniform plane wave for our transmission. So, this is what regarding the regions of operation for a radiation patterns. So, in this session, what is that we discussed? We discussed about what is a radiation pattern and how it is going to radiate a signal, and how we represent the various radiation patterns in this. And next, what are the various types of radiations we are going to have, like isotropic, omnidirectional, directional radiation patterns, and next regions of operation of these radiated signals. So, this radiated signal is going to operate in various regions, such as what are the regions that we normally discussed about? Near field region and far field region. And we normally going to work out at the far field region often. Okay. So in the next class we will come up with the next characteristics of the antenna. Okay. Thank you.